I see things that I used to fear, but without fear, they're just oddities. Amusing, hilarious oddities. Come join me. We'll have fun.
Old lady was a trip. It was so funny. And she told me, "Why did you see?" And of course, I didn't say, I didn't confirm or deny anything. And she said, "It walks like this, like this. It breaks its arms." Hey guys, I'd just like to give you a little background of myself. I was in the US Navy in naval aviation. First part was in fixed wing squadrons, sea control, and fleet reconnaissance. And the second part was mostly in the helicopter combat squadrons. And I did have a stint in quality assurance, so I'm really not as crazy as everybody thinks that I am. After retiring from the Navy, I came back home here, the PI, and went into farming. And that was like 14 years ago. And I'm still into farming, still having a lot of fun. There is one thing I would like to tell you guys about. A long time ago, when I was still just 4 years old, I had an apparition and it changed my life. Right after this apparition, I got very sick and I was diagnosed with a disease. It was the human version for foot and mouth disease. And I was supposed to get an amputation, but thank you that they didn't do it. I did get another operation and got well. And since then, I've been seeing things that I used to fear, I used to hide, and I used to deny myself. I've seen this throughout the years. Never said anything to anybody because I was afraid of the lashback that might happen. So fast forward 52 years, I'm done hiding from them. I no longer fear them. Actually, I think they're kind of hilarious. So these are my stories. Okay, on to the story. The story is 14, not 15. This is the fourth take of this episode. I've deleted all the other takes because there was always a problem with them. I don't know why, but I think this is a story that doesn't want to be told, but I will tell it. I will tell it. When I came back from the service, I decided to volunteer at the ROTC. So this kind of jives with the other episode. But this time, I'm a cadre and not the cadet anymore. So since there was a really bad experience from when I did it 40 years ago, I decided to accompany or watch over the cadet officers when they were going through this night movements training. The only thing that we did was watch over them as safety, people. Make sure that nothing would bother them, as unlike how we were bothered when we did it. So it was basically 14 of them, and three of us cadres were just going to account for them all throughout their movements. Okay. There was three of us, and when somebody would count 14 and report it to me, he would just go to the next post and wait for them there. And there was three of us. So we were already towards the end. And yes, it was around that same area where I witnessed, or we witnessed, the Tiyanak. So there must be really something wrong with that area, because something always pops up. Anyway, 14 cadet officers passed me. So I count 1, 2, 3 until 14. And then they keep on going with their night movements. And then the last cadre would come up to me, which was, that time it was Ian. And Ian's, so I would report to Ian. And I would actually, I was supposed to say, head count 14. Good to go. But when Ian came up to me, I reported to him, head count 15. And he looked at me like, sir, did you say 15? I said, yes, I said 15. And, but I did witness 14 cadet officers pass me. But there's a number 15 just out there yonder. So I told them, I'll go ahead and make sure there's 14 on the next post, and tell them to hold. So I walked towards the supposed number 15 head. I didn't walk straight towards it. I just walked to its left, as if I did not see it hiding behind these big gabi or taro leaves. Taro leaves are really big. And it was just sitting there with his knees up, elbows on its knees, and its head bowed down, and wasn't moving. It was just like a statue sitting behind the big leaves of the taro plant. I walked as close as I would, maybe around 10 feet to its left, and I did not shine my flashlight on it because I knew better. And I did verify without looking at it directly, only with my peripheral vision. I did see what I saw. And I did verify that it was not one of the cadets. So I just did a 180 and just walked away. I just went on to the next post. Next post, Ian was there waiting with Ray, the third cadre. And they both came up to me. They were holding all the trainees in line in the dark. And I just came up to them. I said, verified that the last number 15 was not one of us. So I said, continue the exercise. Continue the exercise. Maybe half an hour later, it was done and over with. So we put the cadets, tell them to hit the shower, and then get ready for Pap's bedtime. So we had to do a out brief, of course, on what happened during the exercise. Probably, grade the cadets, see what problems, if there were any problems, and stuff like that. Basic military training stuff. Now we're having coffee, and Ian, of course, asked me about number 15, and I just told them that, hey, some things we just shouldn't talk about yet. Because I had a really bad feeling that it was one of those things that would bite you in the behind if you did mention its name. But during that time, I still didn't know what it was called. But Ray, the other cadre, said, "Sir, yo," he said, "I saw that. The number 15 you're talking about, I saw that. And, sir, I lost feeling in my left leg for like 2 weeks. And it was terrible," he said. Well, I said, "Man, that's why I don't even want to talk about it." Right. So we secured, done with the meeting. And then I was heading home already. Uh, I only live like 30 minutes away from the training area, maybe 45 minutes. So I was on my motorcycle. It's a small motorcycle. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning already. So I was heading out through the gate, and I was taking the back gate for this area. And just overspeeding a little bit. It was 3 a.m. There was nobody else on the road. Everything was dark because there's no street lights. Oh, I just cruising at the speed limit was 40. I think I was doing like 60. That's kph, not miles. Kph. And suddenly, when I was approaching the exit of this area, the motorcycle just went down a little bit, as if somebody hopped on. And I knew already, like, because I've heard stories about things like this happening on motorcycles here. It's pretty prevalent, these stories. I just didn't know that it would happen to me. So it was really crazy, right? But I was approaching the exit, as I said, and on the left side is an outpost, a security outpost. And it's a mixture of a civilian and maybe one real police officer. And they're just hanging out in their outpost. So I slowed down because I got heavy, right? Slowed down. And as I was going by the outpost, I slowed down to maybe 15 clicks or less. And I looked back and I told whatever it was, "Hey, this is your spot. This is your drop off. Go ahead, go." And then sped up a little bit. So I actually dropped it off right by the outpost. And I was just bawling. I was laughing so hard. So basically, what the security and police officers saw was a motorcycle that's slowed down right by their guard post, and they would look at me. So they saw a guy looked back and talked to somebody and just drove off. Right when I passed the guard post, maybe uh, 20 yards, 30 yards, the motorcycle just went up again. So I did drop it off. Now I started heading home. This is another long, long road. No lights, no nothing. It's crazy here in this country. I don't know where they put the money, but there's no street lights again for the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you know. And I get home. Of course, it's whenever I get home, I gotta wind down a little bit, as you know, like everybody else. So I make some coffee again and secure the area. Make sure before I go to bed, everything's all secure, and you know, look at the dogs. I basically have 6 Dobermans and 4 Chihuahuas at home. So, and I have Beastie. He's a mix Chihuahua and Shih Tzu, but he's the boss though. Anyway, I go to bed, and the next day, the next morning, around 0900, I wake up and my left leg is numb. And I just remember what Ray was talking about. I said, no freaking way. I remember the day, it was December 23rd, and I was so pissed because it's like a couple of days from Christmas, and I won't be able to ride my motorcycle or drive or walk because the feeling I had was complete numbness, basically from my lower waist, the whole left appendage, my whole left leg. And when I would lean on it or step, put pressure, I would feel pain. So I said, man, this is not good at all. So, of course, even though I'm a veteran already, the universal prescription for any sailor, soldier, or Marine is Motrin, 500 micrograms. And I can't believe the VA still sends me that crap. So I take a capsule. It should work in the next hour. I woke up 9, 10, 11, 12. It was already noon, and I was still numb and pain. So I said, this ain't gonna work. So I basically hopped outside, got a pedicab, one of those tricycles for commuting here in PI. And I take a ride to a real nice old lady that I know. She's a medicine woman, and she's already passed. May she rest in peace. And I just told her that, Lola, which is grandma, Lola, I'm in pain, you know, kind of exaggerated. So she said, okay, come on in to her office. It's a healing spot. And she lighted up some charcoal and put some Catholic incense. I think there was salt in it too, and something else. She knows all about this. I've known her for a while back then. And The charcoal is supposed to dissipate when burned, of course, or granulate and turn into dust. But it didn't. So I said, good, we'll find out what it was. Of course, when this all started out, I didn't tell her any background on what happened to me or what I did or where it happened or what I saw. Nothing, no information whatsoever. I just told her, Lola, Lola, Grandma, Grandma, I'm in pain, help me out. That was it. So now the charcoal starts to burn, and it actually melts with the Catholic incense, and the sugar I mean, not the sugar, I'm sorry. The salt starts burning also. And it formed into a small a figurine. And the figurine was like this. It was like a bent thumb, right? And now I remember what I saw. Remember, it was sitting behind the taro leaves with his knees up and both of his elbows on its knees like that. And it was looking down. And I did forget to say that it had a big hump on its upper back towards the neck. Real big hump. And basically, when I look at the figurine, it was like that. And she looked at me, the Lola, old lady, the medicine lady. She said, I have to say it, I guess. Simbin. Simbin. And I said, Lola, Lola, what is that? Oh, it's basically she explained that it was a elemental being, not from here. And don't worry, it was just playing a trick on you. It was just having fun at your expense. Nothing to worry about. You'll get well very soon. And I said, this is basically a joke. I said, yeah, things like that. Maybe you stepped on it. Maybe you offended it. Maybe you looked into its direction or pointed at it. But I did not. I knew it was there the night before. And I did walk towards its area, but I didn't walk towards it. And I did look at it only through my peripheral vision. So I guess I did look at it and kind of bothered it. But she said, don't worry, no worries. It is kind of happy with you. So it's just, don't worry. And I said, okay, Lola. And then she rubbed some oil. And actually, no, she pulverized the figurine in a bowl and pestle. And she rubbed it. No, she grabbed some dust from it and put crosses on my knee, my thigh, and my leg and my foot. And then after that, she rubbed some oil on my leg, kind of massaged it a little bit. And she said, good to go. You're okay now. I said, yeah, okay. I was still limping, so I had to limp out. She said, don't worry. And then she said, in parting, she said, don't worry about it, Mr. B. She knows my name. Don't worry about it, Mr. B. And I did say, bye, Lola. Okay. okay, thank you very much, and just walked away. And I did get well after maybe the next day or that afternoon when before going to early bed. Uh, and I did talk to Ray about it when I went back and paid him a visit. And he said, and they started explaining to me, like, sir, uh, I was in pain for like 2 or 3 weeks and I couldn't walk and all that stuff. And I said, hey, why didn't you go to the hospital or something? And he said, oh, I don't have any insurance. So that's kind of funny. He took the pain. And he eventually got well. I guess it got tired of playing around with him. But I got well in maybe 24 hours, right? Yeah, less than 24 hours. Uh, okay, I did do some research about it. I started talking to some people without mentioning the name because I never mention names like this because they tend to follow you. And come to think about it, this is my fourth take, and the first three times was there was always something happening. There's always a disaster or something, and it was kept on pulling me towards the railroad tracks, and I'll tell you in the future why. But this railroad tracks is close to a small village here in our town that everybody avoids and knows about because nobody wants to go to this village. But I do have friends there, a family. They're faith healers and practitioners of the Roman Catholic Church, and they always go to celebrations, all that stuff. Good lady and good guy that lives there. They sometimes help me out with my problems with these elemental beings around this area, and it's something has been pulling me towards there. I haven't been there in since maybe a year now. I haven't been there in a year, and it just keeps pulling me. It's the railroad tracks, remember? And there's a very beautiful stream there, which has a bunch of cows. And come to think of it, I was almost attacked by one cow one time there. I think I was a heifer, and it was funny. But I'll tell you that story soon. Okay, now about my research. I did find older lady that knew about these beings, and I can't remember how the conversation went, but it started out as me explaining or asking what being it could be, and she just lost it. She said, "That's Sigbin. I know that's Sigbin." I said, okay, but you're not supposed to say the name. I'm just telling you so you know, and you know what we're talking about. It was so hilarious. It was one of those characters that lady, that old lady was a trip. It was so funny. And she told me, why did you see? And of course, I didn't confirm or deny anything. And she said, it walks like this. Like this. It breaks its arms towards its back. It lies on the ground. It breaks both of its arms joints facing back, so it's on the ground, and both legs stand up with both feet facing the other way, so facing forward, and it walks backwards. And the way she was like telling me how it was like, it was so funny. It was so funny. And then she said, do not laugh. It's not funny. It's not funny. That's what I learned. And this old lady comes from way down south of the islands. And it has a different name, but I think it's the same being. Oh yeah, I did forget to describe it. I don't know why. I was so into the story, but I did forget how to describe it. When I saw it, right close by, not 10 feet away. Uh, it was sitting there, as I said, and his legs up, and the elbows were on the knees, and just sitting there. Description wise, it had a long, slender body. I was sure that it was a lot taller than me. I would say maybe 6.5 feet tall if it stood up, but it did not. Had a really long, slender arms, had really long, slender fingers. Even the legs were slender and long. The foot was kind of humongous for its size. Slender body, muscle built, but slender. And it had a really light complexion. Maybe it looked like it was shining in the moonlight, even though it was hidden under the leaves. It had a long jaw and it was facing down. I could see the jaw touching, or the chin touching its chest, and a long head with some hair on top. It was, I don't know, it was, I want to say blonde, but it was like whitish blonde hair. Uh, Pointed ears. It had fangs, had reddish eyes, but I couldn't see directly because it was looking down, but I could tell that there was a reddish tint to it. And had fangs. It's crazy. Had fangs. And it did have clothes too. I want to say that it had a torn upper garment, and I think it had shorts. It had shorts on. Kind of crazy, but it did have shorts. It was wearing shorts. And that was it. Uh, the hair on the arms, you can see it was whitish. It was glinting in the moonlight. And that's what it looked like. And throughout the years, I've been doing some research about it. And I did see two uh, videos about it in on YouTube. And was one was in South America. Video was taken of it. It was a lady, old lady, and it was walking funny backwards. I haven't seen that video since. I tried to find it. And another one was the Russian one. I know everybody sees it. It's the being that's on its back on the ground with the legs and the arms inverted, and it's walking, and it's crazy. I know it's kind of when I saw these videos, for other people it would be a laughing matter, but when you see it, I hope not. It will not be a laughing matter. It's just crazy. Okay, that's it for our video, and hey, thanks for coming again, and like, share, subscribe. Thank you.